as we go to the bans. Already stuff being thrown in chat, and I feel like that's going to be a consistent throughout this game.
Fault, goat, yardy, woat.
Keep the chat clean. Ooh, there's already the warnings coming down. I think that's a fair move there to bring out the yellow card this early. We've all heard the stories.
He's been booked.
Been put to the going to be put to the sin bin, because we've all heard the stories about what chat goes on in NACL.
Yeah.
Oh, keep it clean, guys.
Classic LOL right there.
Keep it clean, apart from please. Right, let's just focus on the ban. So Jackal, Hibana taken out of this bank so far, and now it's the Maestro who's also taken off the table, and already sad faces being thrown up in chat.
Capital D colon.
It's a sad one to see.
Classic gamer move right there.
And then the Echo off the table. So fairly standard bans across this side.
Yeah, that's typical. Mira being left open. Interesting prospect that could cause issues for, I feel, both sides, because Mira is not the easiest things to get rid of, and whenever Hibana is also being banned, that's a counter straight off the rip off of Mira. So could we see Twitch have a big play in it? It would probably suit the NA playstyle with the frag-heavy gun that you kind of obtain. But it all depends, even if the defense want to bring the Mira, because this is kind of like a thing that we kind of looked at a long time ago. Whenever Mira, first started getting banned, whenever bans were added in, Mira was always getting, put out of the way. Teams just stopped practicing with her altogether. So even if she is available, teams are not just going to change up their strategies to fit that one in because she's there.
Well, setting themselves up for lockers, and already the most interesting pick is the 6th to Nook. Curious to see if they can find a quick way inside here from Prod, if they're going to maybe push Garage with some aggression, or they're going to try and take a lot of map control via lobby and just, again, work their way down those main stairs. Maybe even something crazy bold involving, I don't know, maybe a vault hatch or two, but otherwise they're going to set themselves up as a bit of a surprise here. Bringing the Maverick, which is going to be a pretty consistent pick as well, get control of the hatches, especially they're going to be taking this point first. There's too many ways that you're going to need to lock down control, and with only 2 thermite charges in your bank, you're going to have to find a way to make good use of the torch.
Yeah, they do have the Maverick, which is great to see. You need to have 2 hard breach in bank. You're just not going to win any attacks on lockers if you don't have it. You need to bring Maverick and the Thermite, because Hibana, of course, is very commonly being thrown out of the way. So I like the Pulse. Always like to see a Pulse in lockers. Pulse kind of has deteriorated a bit in terms of form. We used to have a time where Pulse was so strong back in the quick swap days, and really Pulse isn't that much of like a big influence operator, because as time has kind of went over, there's more information ops have been added in, and he's kind of been overshadowed a little bit. But on certain bomb sites and certain maps, he can really shine, and Lockers is a perfect example. There is no soft destruction at all. So there's no verticality that like a Buck or a Sledge could use, which you may be thinking, hey, but doesn't Pulse want to try and C4 the Buck and Sledge? Well, actually, whenever he is in like a kind of safe environment, that Pulse Scanner is a much more valuable information tool than a real killing device, which I think is the kind of thing to take away with.
Well, Suzaku opens up the frags there and drops the Thatcher, and that is a potentially pretty big take in terms of, how they want to set up their electronics and how they want to set themselves up from at this point. Yes, there's Valkyrie cams that can be slowed down, but Drip just charges into the fire of the Pulse there, and there's a second one as Talon sacrifices himself to the God of Servers again, and now it's just Nook and Maverick kind of with a huge mountain to climb. Made a little bit of a hole there, Pixel.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do more than that. You've got a lot of time, but not a lot else under your belt, unfortunately.
So that's just kind of collapsed for Akatsuki, and there's no real reasoning why they would just try and run in. Drones do exist. Do they forget that drones is a thing? Possibly. And now it's left them in a really tough position, so they're only limited to the one hatch. Still garage controls well for Adventure Force, which has been droned out, but in the long run it doesn't really matter, because as long as there's an ACOG sat inside of garage, they can deny the plant inevitably, and honestly can just kill anybody who wants to try and push in. Still a minute to go, but they're just going to hit a brick wall. That constant information being gathered by the Pulse it's too valuable here, and honestly I don't think that Akatsuki is going to be able to push past it.
Well, Nook has somehow crept her way inside, and surely at that point the Pulse is feeding the information. The smoke, it hits, but they're just gonna stick it. Don't know if it actually popped off. No, it doesn't, and it's down, and the Maverick Pixel shakes his head in a little bit of sorrow there as he realizes with 30 seconds left, you've kind of got to do the impossible here. Pre-fires a corner, and it is being watched heavily, and there's the next smoke canister, but with the potential of another and 2 C4s, what really can you do here, Pixel? Just gonna try and wait and maybe get an exit frag or two, but I think this is a good opening for Akatsuki. A bad opening for them even, and a good opening for Adventure Force.
Yeah, it's great. Honestly, Fro in the kind of server area was absolutely phenomenal. The fact that he was able not only to get the first pick on the sledge, but also the second, that was the big kill. Getting that Thermite has just completely shut down that round, and from there we knew it was just going to be a painstakingly slow round for them. So they brought the Nuke, but they didn't really utilize it to what they wanted to go for, which generally Nuke is kind of seen as a lone attacker who tries to hide her way just through everything, just tries to sneak her way past the cameras. But we only really see her being picked up whenever Maestro's on the board, and typically we only see her being played in lockers if you're going to try and creep into Garage while being able to be invisible to the Maestro camera that's typically set up in there. Maestro's banned. So why go for the Nuke play?
You know, I guess they wanted to take a bit of surprise in the first swing, and
if you want to crouch walk, take the Ash.
No, it's true, but I guess we didn't really get to see the full stretch of the crouch walked limbs, because obviously by the time they approached the lobby doors, everyone else was...
yeah, Drip was in, well, I say in.
Dead.
In and dead, yes, in the coffin.
The mirror window hold there from Breezy across towards Stockside. I'm curious to see what this can kind of lock down at this point. Obviously, it gives you the idea to quick swing round towards Stock from the stairs, and it allows you a little bit of a semblance of aggression on this side, where normally people would stick a gunner on the deep corner around this, well, where you're seeing them stick a gunner and then just try and hold it as a big angle. They've got the rotations here for the mirror, and I'm assuming they've opened one between janitors and the conference room, but I'm curious to see how much they devote behind there. Suzaku obviously got the opening frag in the previous round, is already swanning his way down to the garage to try and find another, and you can see a bit of quick movement, and Claymore's there already prepping for the potential eventual jump out from Adventure Force.
2 Claymores being prepped on either windows. I don't expect, honestly, for Adventure Force to go for that play, just because they're looking to be a lot more reserved with their kind of setup. You know, very heavy operators being chosen. You have the Mira, the Doc, and the Kaid, who isn't that flexible in terms of the movement, of course. And, well, whenever they also have Valkyrie, they would try and utilize a lot more of the destructibility from below that also the Skylight kind of provides you. And, well, that's a quick peek just from Mira out of janitors. Nobody covering that, and she gets away. Sure, she takes damage, but oh, look, there's a Doc.
Well, Akatsuki so far struggling to get themselves in on the good foot, as each time they approach the building, there's a member of Adventure Force ready to kind of bring their adventure to an end. They're finding the bodies before they get close, with Throw ready on the long angles. 2 people repelling, and Throw just can't quite find the angle, so he's going to rotate and swing as Prophecy finds Suzaku. In the meantime, they're trying to put as much pressure against these windows, but there is about to be a door hit behind Kaid in a few seconds, so they're going to need Zest to double up.
This is really questionable from Akatsuki, because you should never repel in the lobby. Realistically, Fro should have got 2 of yous. He should have killed 2 people in the windows. They're looking to hunt the Kaid where they know he is, but they're not aware of the Valkyrie rotating in below. And Akatsuki, you're trying to repel in windows, but you're not allowed to repel there unless you have lobby control. That's a basic thing. Basic. And you're lucky that Fro didn't kill 2 of yous. Yous are so lucky. Now for Adventure Force, they're happy enough to sit back, relax, and take all the time they need to. Still have mirror windows, which have not been touched at all. And again, they have 2 people in windows. Watch to stop the Valkyrie rotating back into lobby and getting another 2 kills. Absolutely nothing.
Well, Talon is trying to stick the diffuser down at this point. They've obviously brought it to a semblance of 3-3, and there it is, taken out of their hands by Drip, with Prod finding another in the meantime, and it actually wasn't, you know, they got the cover and the creep around the side. They find two, almost, one's down, and the pings are coming out, but with 20 seconds, they have to start finding their way across the side, trying to finish the down to Zofia, who gets themselves back up into a fire of bullets from the MPX, and it is just a swinging battle at this point, going for the big rotate, but with the constant pings popping off all over Prod's footsteps. Surely at this point it is Euphoria's to lose. Doesn't want to rotate and fall down the hole. Prod is going to try and find a place to plant, but no! Adventure Force, clinging on with claw and nail, find their way to their second round.
Oh my. That was... Oh, I don't know what we call that. Is that the NA special? That must have been the NA special. Because that was absolutely bonkers, and Euphoria, fair play to him. Oh my. Oh.
The red urgent line is going off. The red urgent line, directly to my main man, James Sterner, our main man. It's a reference to, we're mispronouncing the anime team name. Now this is your territory as a full-fledged
I have
weeb.
not watched Naruto.
Oh. Well, I'm not, you know, I don't watch a huge amount of anime, if much. It's pronounced Akatsuki, apparently.
Akatsuki.
Akatsuki.
Right, why is there a U?
I don't know, because the thing is, I googled this and the internet said Akatsuki. That's what I went by. But apparently I've been corrected by Sternab. I'll put the red phone, the urgent red anime phone down for now.
Whatever happened to, you know, just like normal team names, you know, like... I don't know. What's a good Demos All-Stars?
The thing is,
that's a good one.
If it's an anime team name, surely they have the power of anime on their side, and it's not working right now.
Captain Flux Sailors?
It's what I was named after.
You know?
Was that show. Apologies to, I've already forgotten it, Akatsuki. I'm going to write that down.
We can just call it Drips team.
I want to write it down. I got to be correct, you know? It's like a constant need, especially to appease anime fans. They're a big audience out there, especially in NA, as Throw tries to just charge towards the sides of Akatsuki and find some bodies, but unfortunately none, and that is the confidence of Adventure Force. Suzaku, I don't think, has actually stopped sprinting this game yet. Every time we've seen him, he's just been sprinting around the map trying to find bodies.
Shift W, classic NA move again. And now, Adventure Force, they will take up the tellers. A bomb site which is difficult to defend, and oh, Pixel, he's just straight in. They are taking no nonsense against Adventure Force. They are taking anything they can to get themselves in these crafty positions. But Adventure Force actually reading it quite well. They're not playing as fast as what we kind of would see from them on the defender side, and especially for the open area, whenever they're trying to extend in towards that, we typically do see a little bit more aggression from the defenders. So for Tellers, you do have some options. You can try and hold upstairs, which they attempted, but that is very quickly being shut down, just like Prophecy has, as he's just fallen to his death, and that's a great reaction shot from Zeston. And back to the open area, it just means that we have to see the attack pressure in towards that side of the map.
Well, they find themselves now suffering the onslaught of hard destruction. You can see the C4 was misthrown, picked back up, and they're going back into the firefight at this point, with Zest holding that main stairway and waiting for the rotation. Obviously, this is one that you can hold a bit loose, a bit above, a bit below, and a bit to the side, and it seems like Akatsuki is struggling to just make the break against it. At this point now, you know, it's weighing up options, really. We saw the pace that Pixel approached this first drop down, and otherwise Prod finds Euphoria. Yet again, they have to body advantage, but they've got to find the execute alongside this.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Adventure Force now, they're scattered in numbers, but still have control of the bomb site, which is the most important thing. Mira darting back and forth, trying to find a pick. Mirror window gets opened, which honestly could work well for Suzaku, as he can use that as a bit of cover, and of course can peek up whenever he can, and just like talking about him, he does get one kill, but has been shot up though. Oh, Breezy, that's an important pick now, because that has completely stopped that approach. And there's another one. Everybody from Adventure Force is showing up when they need to, and now it's completely swayed in their favor, and Prod, See if he can muster up the courage to try and pull this one back. Has the LMG, can try and fire on in and will land the shots onto Suzaku, but still 2 more to find, and they've backed fully into the A bomb site. Doc has even stimmed up Breezy, making sure they can try and live more gunfights together in full HP. They creep around from IQ, but it's been shut down. Adventure Force, my word, it's great.
They're doing really, really well so far. They're kind of keeping a lot of the map alive and being as aggressive as they can across it to be able to just, I guess, slow the roll of Akatsuki, who are otherwise struggling to get in.
That's a tough ask, trying to do 3 defenses on bank in a row, especially the tellers, because it is a hard nut to crack. There's a lot of things that go well for the attack, and you know, whenever you look at the setup that Akatsuki had going into it, they took the upstairs very swiftly. They had a lot of control. And for this bomb site, the verticality is a kind of big thing that is a big subject for defenders to try and defend. It's difficult. You know, there's no real way that you can really set up shop without exposing yourself to, you know, windows and different angles of destructibility towards that top floor in terms of the walls, the way they're laid out. But if an attacker can get inside of CEO with a buck or a sledge, or really any destructibility, they can just rain havoc onto all the anchors. And, you know, to be fair, Adventure Force, they even went for an even riskier play. They chose a mirror for a bomb site, which is entirely destructible from above, and they still made it work. And that's simply because nobody from Akatsuki is bringing a buck or a sledge, which I'm quite surprised why they're not bringing the buck whenever they knew it was going to be the 3rd pick.
It's the thing about the consistent reliance on... I say reliance, okay, the consistent creativity around Mira is they're bringing her and they're using her to great advantage, apart from on this bomb point, which is traditionally the one you would see her mostly brought for, and I quite like seeing that from Adventure Force. They're taking one of the norms of where you can potentially play a Mira who has, you know, the weapon, the utility set that revolutionized the game at that point that it was introduced, but also giving themselves that little bit of swing guns that seem to play well into their aggressive response playstyle, but then on a point like this, they're happier to actually just pull it back. And this was a very good shutdown of the previous Akatsuki push, and I guess we'll see if they can find a way to replicate it. Haven't got the early body. I think at this point, Suzaku, who again is still just moving, never stops, had found a body, and the close down is starting to come in across square.
I want more passion from Akatsuki. You know, this is a massive match for both teams. This is, you know, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. This is the kind of caliber we're dealing with here. And clearly, you know, Akatsuki, they don't really care as they start waking up. So they get that first blood, and more importantly, that's Breezy off the board, who's the smoke player. And that's a risk that you kind of play if you're having your smoke on those back server stairs. Because yes, smoke could be great to try and deny access to that side of the map, and has the shotgun that can blast anybody from that range. But it is a big risk if he does get eliminated, because then you lose your smoke just outright. So Zaku, who was not droned out, who was not trying to be hunted, he's just now crept up and eliminated Prod. So those Valkyrie cameras are going to be remaining for the meantime, as of course that's the whole thing about bringing the IQ, is to stop the Valkyrie cameras. And now that's just opened up Adventure Force to, honestly, a great bit of intel now being added to them.
Well, the smoke is obviously a bit of a loss here as well, as he said, and now it's just Throw burying himself as the pulse into Gold Ult, which is the standard place to hold that off. Obviously, they've lost a big bit of utility, but they do still have those C4s ready and willing, and as soon as they get the information there, it's going to be good.
They have 4 people now stacked up, and nobody's watching flank. You know that there is a roamer, there could be 2 roamers, and you're not holding the flank. This is going to prove dividend as the first kill of this final minute comes in, and well, that Zest firing on through that long angle into Garage.
And now it's just a matter of Pixel trying to do further work to open up a sightline, which is taking a little bit too long to actually get to the place he wants it to be. And they have the close down, as you called. Suzaku finds Prophecy on the main swing against the blue stairs. And now yet again, Akatsuki find themselves panicking on the bomb site with the diffuser cold and Pixel finding a body in and amongst. It only took another swing from Zest to get the refrag, and Adventure Force to set themselves up on another comfortable hold on lockers, but a 4-0 throughout their swing on defense so far.
The reason why we see Jackal be in a ban bank is because it's so annoying for, you know, roamers to try and play their way. typically we don't see a whole lot of rumors have an impact on rounds. And that's simply because the attackers realize that if they do allow the defenders to have a bit of impact, then they're just going to lose that round outright. Perfect example of that is they left the rumors to do their own thing, and they paid for it with a round. They paid for that. You need to shut down rumors and bank as quick as you can, because they are the most potent thing that the defense have. You think about bank, massive, massive map, staircases galore. You have a lot of destructibility as well. You can, create punch holes and bullet holes wherever you need to make. And the way that kind of the basement is laid out, there's a hatch right above server that completely shuts down anybody in the server room. That's the thing about it as well. That main server hatch, if a defender can get above that, he gets easy free kills.
Well, you asked, and they seem to have answered. For the first time today, we are seeing Nomad in the hands of Pixel, potentially to try and control the errant Suzaku, amongst others that have generally found themselves free-falling around this map. Wherever they need to be and want to be, they've been pretty confident and comfortable to find their way. Suzaku himself getting the opening frag in 2 of the rounds so far, both in the lockers ones actually, and it kind of exemplifies that they've just struggled to get the complete area control that would otherwise be, well, satisfying, I think it's as a minimum to say. Setting themselves up across this square as they held it very aggressively previously, the mirror wide swinging to find the opening body, and then from then they're being able to pull that off a couple of times without really being truly punished. There was also the moment the last time we were at this point where Kaid almost found 2 bodies but was just a little bit misplaced on the windows, and those little mistakes could really start to cost Akatsuki more than they otherwise are so far. Setting themselves up for the square push as they did previously, potentially going to be a little bit more aware to the aggression of Mirror against this stock side as they try and get themselves in control, with Prod taking the duties of lobby watch.
So, Akatsuki, how will they respond? They've brought the Nomad, which means that they do fear the aggressive nature that Adventure Forces tried to bring in. If they try and repel in these windows without cover and lobby, which thankfully this time they do have the cover, Prod will be repelling, and that's still a risky one though, because he could easily as well get killed off that on the repel. But as long as he's holding it, then I'm happy enough with that. I'll take that fluke. We take those. We take those, yeah.
Is that your minimum? Well, Prod is just going to keep a watchful eye as the 2-minute mark passes, with Throw having crept around aggressively to stock. Again, this is what we've seen them do before, but there is still the man on the roof on Skylight that can swing round an angle and see if they can find the body, if they keep themselves attentive enough. In the meantime, Pixel is trying to creep a bit closer, and Prophecy's actually going for a bit of a big rotate, going to find a second method of approach as Talon wants to start trying to crack open the square side, with Drip on window patrol and Prod on protect Drip patrol. It seems like they're setting themselves up for a pretty clean execute, but it's Throw inside stock that was there uncontested for so long and so patient is able to start to peel apart the attack from behind. Talon at least finding some semblance of balance.
Yeah, they've opened up the breach. It does create that, of course, that massive gap in between the bomb sites. And one thing about Adventure Force is that they're not afraid to, send 2 people downstairs to try and get a better angle from what they were at. And whenever they have Breezy below, I assume has the C4, that's a mighty shot from Suzaku, and that sent Pixel to an early grave. And still the window repel. But the window repel isn't really doing anything. What's the point of having it there? You're still keeping Prod to try and cover him, but now it's just leaving Talon by himself, who could easily get ganged up on and just be eliminated on such low HP. He's trying to crawl in and get himself in a position where he can go for the plant, but as long as that mirror window's there, the information's just going to keep being gathered in the C4, like we discussed from Breezy. That hits home. And well, now Prod and Drip have it all to do. Does get 1 kill, but that has alerted the position. And there goes the Jäger. Suzaku's having a great game in that 4-16. And Drip does have the refrag, but still, a 1v2. Has to plant the diffuser. Defenders scattered around the map. Gets the mirror, but doesn't get Euphoria.
Yeah, it's going to pick themselves up, but no time, even if they did manage to stand up, to then do anything with it. Great play from Adventure Force to bring themselves back into a situation where they're on 5-0, and what they are doing so well is setting themselves up for the trade so far. They are consistently and convincingly in positions where, yes, we're seeing Akatsuki find their way inside and find boots on the ground, but it's never safe ground, it's never solid ground, and they've never quite got the map control and the control of Adventure Force that is one that can, well, leave them comfortable. Rotating to Tellers one more time. Warden currently on the board for the first time. Now he's swapped away there. But I think that would be the first Warden across the entire series, I think.
You look at Adventure Force, they have so much area denial. You know, they have the mirror windows that I would have to say are being excelled in the right way that you should be playing the mirror windows. I like the fact that they're not trying to force the mirror windows into their strategies, which a lot of teams will see the mirror or, you know, like an operator is typically banned out, you know, like Echo or Mesh. Well, Echo Mesh is a little bit more universal, but mirror specifically, whenever that operator's open, a lot of teams will kind of panic, say, oh, mirror's open, we have to take her. You know, she must get banned for a reason, and quite right, she does get banned because she's very strong. But, you know, you need to know when you put her into your setups, when you change things up. If you practice with Mira, then sure. If she's available, that's just a bonus for you. But overall, they know when it's the right time to take the Mira, especially for that top four. She has proved so deadly, not so much in terms of the fragger potential, but the clear information to provide onto those breaches has been valuable.
Yeah, it's just been a really, really good balance of that kind of information and then the denial of space game in the hands of Adventure Force. Yet again, setting themselves up for a pretty aggressive, pretty wide hold here. They've already thrown a couple of bodies towards the side of open, including a Pulse who's looking for as much early information as he can to maybe utilize a body. In the meantime, Drip is going to waste no time in trying to get to the top floor with Pixel closing from the opposite side. There's also drones heading ahead. This is Akatsuki just trying to pull one round back in their favor before they go to the swap onto their defenses because, well, unfortunately it's not swinging their way, but if they can at least find a little bit of the shift of momentum, they might be able to have some more control on their defenses. As I said at the very beginning, they technically have the best statistic defense in terms of rounds taken across NACL, is Akatsuki's stat, and I guess we'll have to see if they can really cling into that and utilize that, because at this moment it looks like they might be going in with a lot of work to do.
Once again for Akatsuki, they have not brought soft destruction. They have not brought a sledge or a buck. You know it's the third pick bomb site. You know it's Tellers, a bomb site which is really tough for defenders simply because they have nowhere to sit in bomb site. You know, the amount of times we've seen a buck or a sledge come in and just rain havoc from above and do whatever renovation he needs to do. It's so invaluable not to have it. They've lost their Thermite, so hard breaching walls in towards the lobby, that's out of the question. I have no idea what Akatsuki can do. They should not win this, and there's still information as well being gathered by, you know, the Valkyrie, who, really, IQ, I haven't seen that gadget be used a whole lot.
That was a lovely take there against Throw. Read it like a book and then burnt the pages afterwards as Prod starts to close down across the square side, and the big sight lines all the way is just going to give them a little bit of semblance of control. But there is the response from Akatsuki, and Pixel finds Suzaku in the meantime and puts a bit of a balance back in their favor, but Breezy is there yet again to throw some balance back the other way. It is a consistent response from Adventure Force as a combination of the information that they're being able to utilize so effectively across this bank. Now, they're trying to close down close against the Mozzie, but he reacts beautifully and takes control of Pixel, and now it is a 2 versus 2 as yet again Prophecy finds Zest, and this is the game we kind of expected.
Still, Akatsuki, they can only push into the gunfights. That's all they've been playing off. There has been very little actually strategic play. It's just been down to the gunfights, and they're not even winning those. They have gave Adventure Force the perfect half on their bank defense, and also winning the offsite twice.
Match point.
Wow. Oh my.
Match point we sit on, and well, there's a lot of work to be done here by Akatsuki, because yes, even if they win the first point and the second point, then you're to your third off point, and then even if you get that, there's another 3 points to go after that, so it's always going to kind of be eating away at you. To be fair though, it's a mental game on the side of Adventure Force as well. What has been their consistent win so far is that they're having Akatsuki push against their gunfights when it comes to pushing the point. That's a joy that you only get on your defenses. You've got to find a way to translate that to your attacks, and you assume you're the ones having to apply pressure on a big map with a lot of drone possibilities. You've got to be a bit quicker and a bit sharper about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But 6-0, that's a lot of momentum and a great headspace to be in to do it. 6th pick from Ella to Valkyrie, potentially baiting off the hard hold on the blue server stairs with the Ella and opting maybe for something a little bit looser and aggressive around the square side or above, or a little bit more information game.
Well, you look at the kind of bans that come in. Yes, Habana is off the table, and Jackal as well, and we kind of seen Akatsuki pick a Nomad to kind of stop the roam game, which honestly, Adventure Force only had a roam game on their lockers. That was the only time I really seen that come in. Most of the time, they played on site and they just falled off, you know, they just rotate it around. And even if you look at the last round, most of it was just sat on site, holding their offsite in towards the open area. Roaming didn't really become a big thing in those later stages. It was just for the one round on lockers, that was it. And I kind of feel as if Akatsuki, they took the bait and they played into all about, oh, let's deny the roam, let's deny the roam. Adventure Force, though, they just picked Nomad straight off the rip, because they should kind of see how Akatsuki were playing their attacks. They just ran in. You know, they probably know at this stage, 6-0, you're going to be tilted. That's out of the question. You'll try some stupid stuff. You'll try and play that ranked playstyle, and Nomad's great at shutting down any of those crazy, you know, strategies that perhaps Akatsuki want to go for.
Well, you can see they've got themselves set up in the servers, as we said they would, with Talon giving the early information to the rest of the team there. Seeing if anyone's going to push dirt and being able to respond could be a big sway in their favor, but so far it seems like it's a fairly quick effort to get those hatches above. The pace of Akatsuki, you can see them completely littering that entire floor as they get control of open, get control of main, get control of square, and then find their way through. Breezy is already staring down the angle, and it's just a matter of him acting as the anvil and the hammer from the opposite side, pushing the defenders towards him to be able to pick them off on the rotate. And it really isolates defenders in what becomes a bit of a, well, shooting fish in a server-filled barrel. Talon has the pulse to be able to offer some semblance of information in terms of the response and return, but otherwise it does not make the journey any easier. Darts across and just finds the moment of no one looking. Breezy's still above the hatch. Not sure what his attention was focused on, but it definitely wasn't on the man who rotated. As the Thermite of Suzaku, as we said, has had a pretty great game so far, finds his way around, pushing close against the barbed wire, but nothing yet. And with a minute
Shoots the
30.
C4? That's a Spaz 12 they're going up against as well, and that's primed, locked and loaded to go as hatch will get opened in towards server. I'm glad that we've seen Akatsuki realize, oh wait, they've opened up hatch, there's two people in server, we need that pulse in the Spaz 12, it fires on through, and let's see if he can try and add on any more. He's took a lot of damage, only 3 shots left in towards the Spaz 12. Twitch tried to solo push into Garage, but Prod's there to try and shut it down. Maverick, what are you doing? Why drop the hatch? There's still a Valkyrie you need to deal with, which has been taken care of, but other than that, it looks to be Akatsuki. They're not going to get 7 nodes, so they can, of course, probably recover themselves from this and at least take 1 round. But Adventure Force, I don't know, weird one from them, just pushing in with no real sure plan.
Well, Suzaku's just in servers, and I think he's trying to be as quiet as he can be with Pulse sidestepping and swanning around for information. It is, as he said, only a matter of time, really, before they go, oh, there he is, and absolutely tear him apart. The man above does find the frag, and yeah, there was a little bit of a lapse of information complimenting Adventure Force in how they opened the round and how they opened the game. They were able to very quickly get control of the hatch, get control of the first and second story, and then from that point onwards, they just needed to collapse down. Very smart play from Drip to rotate into the aggression, hold onto the server stairs, not get too aggressive to swing round, allow him to get the one surprise frag, and then from that point onwards, just the psychological thing of, oh no, wait, they're still around, really can pull apart the momentum, as we've just seen. From that point onwards, Akatsuki kind of fell to pieces, but will they be able to kind of shove that aside and bring themselves to the 7-1 as we head to CEO, which is, you know, a very different point to attack? Yeah,
CEO typically does favor the defenders because the kind of angles you can, of course, apply with the ACOGs and Doc is it's kind of a must-picked. We've seen that from Adventure Force. They pick that Doc quite frequently. But here comes the Mira 6th pick. But I also would have liked to see Castle being added in. So, you know, you look at that lineup, I don't know, where could they fit in, you know, the Mira plus Castle? Because that's the thing, typically Mira is banned, so Castle fits that spot. And other than that, it's pretty standard. You need the Jaeger, of course, you need Smoke there to deny plant, ACOG and Doc is kind of mandatory, and then Valkyrie, whenever she is up and bank, can be oh so potent. They do see the IQ, though, from Suzaku, so that is something that they were lacking the last time. They didn't have that access to eliminate those Valkyrie cameras, which honestly did help, you know, the Valkyrie. Whenever a man was able to sit on the cameras and be able to feed that information over the Drip and say, you know, one's pushing you, peek now with a shotgun, that works a treat, and whenever it's still alive, it's great for you.
Well, Nomad's still on the board, IQ as well. They have the option of soft destruction, which was otherwise occasionally lacking in the previous attack rounds. Mira here as well, with the Valkyrie feeding and doubling down on the information. Mossy was sometimes seen around here, but not this time. They have their option of rotation, and the Mira pushing across Janitor's... Well, no, they stop and change. Maybe going to do that 1 second as they get the main stairs side done first to allow, I guess, a little bit more of the immediate worries. Prophecy's actually just going to hold onto main stairs and white stairs and make sure they keep any semblance of control on this side. In the meantime, it seems so far like the drones are coming in a bit slower and steadier from Adventure Force. Obviously, this is a point where you're expecting them to be more, shall you say, malleable and more around and all over the place. So they're making sure that they don't accidentally lose themselves in the initial firefight that, to be fair, they were so great at exploiting when they're on defense. They were consistently able to pull the first Akatsuki body as they began to enter and start their execute. From this point, they're setting up in square with the long angle on the big windows of lobby, and then it's just a matter of getting themselves in position and maybe executing.
So they did hold on to that mirror window in towards Janitors for a while, and I was curious to see if they were eventually going to place it down, but they have. So that denies access, of course, to the breach, so the plant isn't as simple. Teams haven't really prioritized taking clear of the mirror windows. You know, you looked at Adventure Force, they had no issues whatsoever with their mirror windows. They were able to stay up the whole time, and I'm curious now to see if they themselves realize how strong these mirror windows are, and we'll try and stop that. Brazy not blowing off his next one. I think they're just trying to wait to make sure nobody could be lurking, which is exactly what Trip is doing, but as I say that, he gets eliminated. Now Akatsuki, they're on a major back foot. Prophecy does bring back 1 kill, but then very quickly Fro is there again, who's been turned up extremely well this match. He's really impressed me, and now a 4v2, and Akatsuki, this is looking grim.
Yeah, you could see the Jaeger rotating deep underneath for a while there as they set up on pillars, but actually struck from the opposite side and tried to find the semblance of control against the back hold. And now it's the Mirror getting a lot of pressure from that opening from the thermite hole, and now it is the 3 versus 1 with the body down on the diffuser cold, but they know exactly where Prophecy is, and that was a pretty convincing final shutdown there from Adventure Force. 7-1. 7-1 they put themselves on after the first showing on Bank, but it is a best of 3.
Yep, still another map to go, of course, but Adventure Force, 7-1, they take it. A flawless opening defense, and we'll have to see if Akatsuki, they can regroup and try and get their heads back in the game as Map 2, it's coming right up.